Count him in.
3.
Hello, boys and girls. Today we're back. Okay, again. Sorry, I just wanted to fuck with you.
Wait for the count.
I just wanted to start it too, just to fuck with you. like you don't count me in. Fuck you. I'm not.
So petty. So petty. I don't want to count
Okay,
you
you know what's good about this, Siddhant? At least we have reactions if you ever want to fuck up.
Yeah, that's too good.
Okay, let's do this.
Okay. 3.
Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to the first episode of That Aged Badly, where we take a dump on nostalgia. Today, we're discussing the Cartoon Network show Captain Planet, and as always, I have with me here Suyash, Barve,
Hello. How's it going?
and Siddhant Mehta.
It's all about heart, Karan. That's what this show is about. Never forget that.
So, guys, this is a new series where we, talk about things from our past and revisit them and wonder how we could like these things when we were kids. So today, like I said, we're discussing Captain Planet. What are your first thoughts on the show? As in, what did you think about it when you were a kid, and what do you think about it now?
Okay. I have a fundamental issue. I don't think this aged badly. I think this show is of the future. We have to catch up to the values of this fucking show.
Right.
That's my
It has not aged badly at all. It has
So you're saying
aged.
this show didn't age badly? We aged badly.
We have aged badly. Yes, the world is worse off than it was when this show released. The show has not aged a day. It is in
So
fact younger and more relevant.
What if the show never happened? You think the world would be in a better place?
No, what? No.
Because the show happened and we're in a worse place.
What?
So I'm
That
just
doesn't
saying,
make any sense. It's not cause and effect, Karan. Nobody listened to the fucking show.
I'm
Nobody
saying-
listened to Kwame.
I'm
What's his
saying
name,
this
Kwame?
show,
Yes, his name was Kwame.
Okay, good.
it's like Swami but African version. I'm saying if this show never happened, like I'm saying because of this show, we got an overdose of this whole environmental giri, right? And we got sick of it.
You know what?
If the
The
show never
problem
happened,
starts with the word environmental giri. That's where it starts. Okay, the casualness with which you threw that out, no, is the problem.
listen,
Is why nobody fucking got Captain Planet.
it's like if you can have Gandhi giri, you can have environmental giri, guys. It's the same thing.
This has turned into a battle of semantics that I never thought that it would turn into.
Okay, fine. So then, what do you think? about
I
the show?
think this is a terrible show, man. Like, what happened?
How dare you?
Why did we ever bother with this shit? It's
Dude, but we
so
loved
bad.
it when we were kids. This was like this was the show, dude. And
I think, to be fair, at this time, it in the Cartoon Network window was when we were usually being given the snack that we were going to eat in the afternoon. So you could have put anything in front of me at this point,
Which was
and I would have
usually
been
Maggie.
okay with it. Yeah. Well, I didn't get
After
Maggie that
school,
often, but
3:30, you come home.
it's definitely a part of it. Yes, there could be Maggie involved. But what I'm saying is, I think we were just fundamentally stupid at this point as children. I think that's the only explanation I have, other than we were too busy eating to notice that a superhero happens after 5 kids point rings and shoot each other with it, or shoot into the same spot. How does that even happen? Where they all just shoot
I mean,
the beam into the
it's called
same
a
spot.
bukkake, right?
Okay,
Okay,
that's one. That's one way of looking at it. That's one way of looking at it.
100.
I just want to start. Let's start from the beginning, okay? I tried to watch the first episode, okay?
Yes, me too.
Where Hogrish Greedley, where if there's a school of naming villains so hard that you just hit it on the nose, you broke the nose. I think the writers of Captain Planet would be the headmaster of this school.
Okay, so to underline your point, I'm going to name some of the bad guys, okay, from this show.
I mean, why wait? Go for it.
One of them is called Loot and Plunder.
Yeah.
I love
Like,
that. That's my
Loot and
favorite.
Plunder is amazing, okay?
Yeah.
We have Hoggish Greedley, okay? which
Yeah.
sounds actually like a Harry Potter character.
Exactly.
If I'm this thing, there's also Duke Nukem,
That is a
and
rip-off. That is
No.
a rip.
one
How
second,
did you
I
get away
looked
with
this
that?
up. Duke Nukem in the show preceded the game. So when the game came out, Apogee, who's the company, they were scared they'll get sued by Turner. So they changed the spelling of Nukem for a while to Nukum. And then they realized that Turner didn't have a copyright on the villain's name, Duke Nukem. So they said, fuck you, and they went back to the name, to the same name. So the show came first. I looked this up.
Now I hate it more. I just want to say. So Plunder tries to like dig for oil with his magic machine, and in doing so has like hit the riverbed and like is going down and trying. He's drilling in a river first of all, which
Yeah, but
is
who's drilling for oil in river?
It
fantastic.
wasn't a river. There were seals. And please don't. What magic machine? It was a mech. It was a fucking straight up mech to drill for oil.
Right,
That
a
guy
mech,
did not
mech-
cut corners.
like a Japanese mecha robot that he's
Yes,
just wonderful.
exactly.
So he's drilling it, and Gaia, the spirit of the earth, is taking a nap, and
Of course she is.
some
I-
reason, the drill gets through her glass ceiling and the water drips through, mind. It does not
One
like
second, he's
burst
taking
through.
an actual nap below the river.
Actual nap below. It's a river. I
Guys,
don't know what he's
one
talking about.
second.
It's not an ocean. Okay. And she's like, oh, my nap has been disturbed. These are real things that she has said. Okay. You know what I'm going to do? I'll put a task force of teenagers from around the planet, give them the power of nature, and have them handle this for me because I have so much going on.
So, so it's like child labor.
You're
Basically.
skipping a very important point here.
Okay.
The main plot point of this show is that Gaia napped for 100 years. And when she woke up, the humans had shit all over the earth. This is
I mean,
why.
I blame her.
Yeah, don't sleep on the
Being
job.
on the job.
Exactly.
I have
Yeah.
2 points. I have 2 points about Gaia. Gaia is recklessly irresponsible for napping for 100 years, just as humanity is like putting their roots in.
Listen, she's
Right?
the
Like,
Earth, okay?
critical
100
point.
years for Earth is
So she
like
basically
a small
saw-
5-minute nap. Like, you know,
Okay,
the
so
one you
these
take
guys
after you
are-
had too much coffee. That kind of
No,
nap.
these guys are getting into the industrial revolution.
Resolution.
Time for my nap.
Yeah.
That's how it went,
It's
basically,
a
right?
critical point.
Fell
You could
asleep at
fall
the wheel
asleep.
here.
Yeah. So that's point 1. Point 2, very important point. Was it just me or was Gaia super fuckable?
Dude, Gaia was
Come on,
hot. I'm sorry.
let's not beat around the bush here. We all
Gaia
know.
was hot.
We all know.
That was
We all
fucking
know.
hot. She was damn hot.
This
I
was one of
once
those confusing things for children to watch.
Yeah,
'Cause
are
I'm
you
pretty sure she
supposed
was
to?
good enough for girls as well.
Yeah. Are you
Okay.
supposed to get a boner for the spirit of the earth? I don't know, but
Are you horny
you know
for the Earth?
why? You
Yes.
know what have taken that away from us? If we knew that she was voiced by Whoopi Goldberg.
that would have killed it. Yes. I didn't know that
Yes.
at the time. I don't know who Whoopi Goldberg was. Today, when I heard it back, when I heard the episode back, I was like, wait, that's fucking Whoopi Goldberg.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yes.
but she finds all these people like a snap, and they're like, we go to their origin stories, which were all bogus, by the way. They're terrible stories. I don't know what the hell is going on. Like, I have so many questions, and there are absolutely no answers. But to wrap it up, okay, all of these people have now gathered here in like seconds. I don't know how this has happened. And my favorite part about this is when she says, Marty, the random South American child, your power is the most important because it gives all the other powers meaning or like a reason to be or something.
Okay.
And I'm just like, what are you saying, woman? Like,
He's
what
the
is-
conscience. He's
his
the
power is
conscience of
hot.
the other powers. Yeah. And he's the conscience of all the other powers, but he is also maximum 9 years old.
That is true. That is
How are
true.
you giving the super important power to a 9-year? Have you met a 9-year-old? There is no responsibility you should
maybe
hand
he's
this
just
kid.
short and you just don't like
9-year-olds are
short people,
assholes,
but
dude.
we know that.
I
about
don't
you
like short
as a
people. That's
person.
pretty true.
Barve,
Yeah, that's
you
pretty
hate short people. So he's probably not 9, he's just short. I think what was interesting was they tried to skirt around the whole nation state thing with like, oh, you're from South America, you're from like nondescript location, but then to choose the Soviet Union and not Europe.
She's not
Not
Russian.
Europe.
She's
Yeah.
Soviet.
Yeah.
She calls that out hard. She doubles down on that
Guys,
shit.
that's because the show premiered in 1990
No,
Yeah,
we
but
get
when
there's
it.
no
there was
European representation.
Yeah.
They
still
went
a
straight
Soviet
Soviet.
Union, right?
No, we get it. But what is being is very clear to us is that Europe, the area, didn't matter because
Yeah.
the Soviet Union was more important, and it's clear because this is from an American perspective. So they're like, oh, let's just cross over this little like patch of land over here to the really big part that has everything, and they are our arch nemesis anyway. So let's talk about them and build that bridge over Europe, like just cross
And
over.
Literally,
guys,
quite
they
literally.
also skipped a small little place called Australia. That's a continent. They
Okay,
should
I
have
have.
had
I
representation.
know why.
No one cares. No one cares.
I know why.
Only
Because
white people.
The Russian accent was so atrocious. They were like, "Fuck, we can't get an Australian accent down in this much
The
time."
girl who was
Fuck,
doing
go ahead.
the Asian accent.
Oh
Yes,
my god.
there was no Asian accent, first of all.
Yeah.
They just went with American for that. Like, I don't know what the
Anything was
geopolitical
happening.
fucking power move
Anything
was
happening.
there.
She was just saying anything. Like, and randomly she'd have like affectations in her speech. It's the same with the South American kid. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is going on? Okay.
He was
I
just
still
fast, dude.
don't get it. Like, and you're just watching this show, and it's just they don't have actual dialogue. It's just puns and exposition. It's
Dude.
literally what's
Yeah.
happening in this show.
Dude,
It's
speaking about puns, okay, I think I think one of you guys mentioned it. This show is full of dad jokes.
yeah, I texted
This
that.
show it just redefines dad jokes. Like there are entire segments where Captain Planet is fighting Captain Pollution, and they only converse in dad jokes. Like every line is just out trying to out dad joke each other.
Before we get to that part, you've gone very far ahead. Let's talk about Captain Planet for a minute here, because I am now genuinely very, very confused by this entire character.
I agree completely.
So
So,
these
yeah.
elements combine, okay, the four of them combine, but nothing happens. But then you put heart in it, and suddenly it turns into this dude, okay, and he now proceeds to just do his thing, his hero stuff, and has like he just narrates the entire thing through dad jokes. Okay, he does not shut up even for a second, and he has some kind of bizarre imagination of like he just makes these very regular things that you see on Earth for whatever reason. Like I think one of them he made like a ship and a bottle and stuff like that to like catch the. It's some wild stuff. He just keeps talking. Okay, none of it makes sense. He's just babbling, and we're just watching action scenes of him like breaking the earth, throwing water in the air. Like the guy is. It's like I just don't get it. I really don't get it. How do elements combine to become a person? Like it's
You know,
blowing
I,
my
I
mind.
have a slightly bigger question. While we may have to give that up to suspension of disbelief and Gaia just being so hot that she can make these things happen
Or
for
lazy.
herself. Yeah.
Just
No.
doesn't want to do it
One
for
second.
myself.
1 second. I have a far bigger question. In your mind, what is the Captain Planet costume? Because seeing it now, he is made of diamonds and he's wearing shoulder pads and chuddies.
Yeah, because
Is
back
that
then
it?
everything has to be based off the Superman costume. You see, this is all pre-Batman becoming
He
cool.
looked like a WWF wrestler.
Also part of the whole 90s aesthetic.
That's
Let's
true.
be honest.
Guys,
Hulk
I have a
Hogan. What is
far
that?
more basic question.
Yeah.
If there are 5 kids with these rings and they're supposed to use these rings and their magical powers that come with the rings, specifically like whatever fire and water and earth and things like that, what is and then why is it Captain Planet and them?
Oh, their rings don't work when he's out there though.
But one
Yeah,
second,
they're
why not just release
Have
the
Captain
Captain
Planet.
Planet
Yes, forever.
and like
Yeah.
take care of this problem, and then these kids can go to school or something like as they're supposed to. What
Yeah,
is the
it's
point of
needless.
having the kids and Captain Planet?
Symbolic.
Once
They're doing
again,
the same thing.
this stupidly hot woman has put children in recklessly endangered children when she has a superhuman being just fucking sitting around like in stasis.
Like
for
she could
weeks
have,
at a time.
we're also not questioning that why she's only made one Captain Planet. She could totally just bang out 5. Like what is she doing?
Lieutenant Planet, Major Planet, General Planet,
And just a whole private
and
whole
Private Planet.
yeah. And then there's an army structure. You've got everything going for you.
The Planet Army, and
Yeah.
I mean, no, I still, guys, this is a question that I had when I was a kid, and I just thought, I'm a kid, I don't understand it, and maybe I'll understand it in the future. And it's been like maybe 25 years, and we've come revisited this thing, and I still have the same question. Just fucking send the kids home.
Yeah. Why do they need to be
Captain
here?
Planet can do everything. Am I missing something, guys?
They're the
So,
ambassador.
for example,
The really important thing is, no, Barve, this is important too. I'll tell you why. Okay. It's always the end of the episode where they give you the real tip. And that'll be where the Planeteers are like doing some shit. They're like, today's episode, we learned about whatever the fuck. And here are these guys talking about it and explaining it to you. So it was all.
so here's how you can help. Because the
Yeah.
whole thing was, you're a Planeteer too. So
Yeah.
you can tell your dad not to drive like so much and use the car so much. Anti-capitalist bastard. But they were like, no, don't use the car so much, and walk if you can, and ride the cycle if you can. That was the thing. So the kids were like a metaphor for you all. It's like you can be a Planeteer too. Which I think, once again, is why this show hasn't aged badly. It was fucking genius.
No, but one second.
So you mean we're useless?
You can totally, at the end of the show, get some kids to come and tell you that, hey, you guys can. I'm still saying, why have Captain Planet if the kids can save the world, or why have the kids if Captain Planet can save the world?
So exactly. I buy that. You don't need both plot points. You don't need both.
You genuinely just explained why the kids are useless. And you are therefore useless as a child, because you actually need powers that even you by yourself, if you had your one, everyone has to pick a ring, right? We all wanted one. I wanted water for sure, because water is everywhere and I'm going to fucking win, obviously. Okay. So I was going to take water for sure.
Land in the desert, and in that case, you just you have no water. You'll be like Snow Job.
There's water underneath the desert every time. Don't ever forget this. Okay. Point being, if you had this ring, you still suck. You still need the other 4. Okay. So now you guys have to combine to give Captain Planet life. And then after that, you are basically a cheerleader. You're just standing there. In fact, collateral damage waiting to happen, making his life harder. So basically, when you're sitting there watching as a kid, you're like a Planeteer, utterly worthless. And all the problems that you are willing to solve in life, in real life, you can't solve because you're not a Planeteer. You don't have a ring.
Need an adult.
You can't get Captain Planet.
Yeah.
So you suck then, you suck now, and you'll suck forever, is basically what this show is trying to tell you.
So I want to go back in time and tell like the younger version of me who didn't understand this, like, dude, you're right. The show is an idiot. It's not like you didn't get it.
Yeah, no. It's utter tosh. Now let's talk about Captain Pollution, because for some reason, this gave me joy. I mean,
1 second. So let me set this up, okay?
Yeah.
So basically,
I also need some context because I only got the first episode and the freaking Captain Pollution wasn't in there.
So
I'm
I'll tell you what
Googling him
happened.
now. Yeah.
The show started in 1990, which is why we have a Soviet woman. And then they did 116 of fucking episodes, which is insane, right? For animation and shit, which is why they were just belting these out. Clearly.
Great churn rate, yeah.
Yeah. And they had these bad guys, looting plunder and verminous scum, and who had his own rat pack, which were actually humanoid rats. Dude, the references are completely like really old for kids who are in the 90s, okay? And all these like pollution inspired villains, and eventually they ran out of whatever these villains could do, and they had like a special episode where there were 4 polluting rings paralleling the 5 polluting rings paralleling the 5 earth rings, okay? And they were and so when the bad guys got rings, okay, and when their powers combined, they had Captain Pollution.
Yeah.
Okay. And this Captain Pollution is voiced by the same guy who voices Captain Planet, except he puts like a Californian twang to it. Okay. And he looks very similar, except he's like, this guy's blue, so he's red. Of course, the bad guy is
that kind of nonsense, basically.
And he's basically an asshole version of Captain Planet. And
Yeah.
he doesn't call the others a team. They calls them his servants or some shit like that. The bad
Yeah.
guys.
It's awful. It's
It's just
amazing. Because
diametrically opposite. And he comes and he's just basically
he's
now even
exactly
the
what you
bad
think.
guys are useless
Yeah.
because now it's just Captain Planet and Captain Pollution fighting each other.
Yeah.
And the fucking five kids and the bad guys are sitting there shagging because they're
Yeah.
like, what do we do?
Nothing
They're just
useless. Utterly useless. Although the adults are still adults and they have adult bodies, so they could probably wail on the kids and get away with it. I watched this episode, by
Yeah.
the way. I couldn't get through it.
so
It was too stupid. So this episode, basically, they like get some kind of distress call to happen, and they use like the rat. Okay, is in the plane behind. So these kids have a plane too. It was a very cool plane. I actually liked the plane when I was a kid.
I actually wondered how much is that plane polluting and what's the carbon footprint?
Can I have
See, we'll get to this, all of this later. But
yeah,
basically,
we have to come back to the plane later. Huh.
the rat flies past these guys and lets out sleeping gas, which gets into their
Okay.
plane and knocks them out. How you have a plane without a pressurized chamber with like air pressure, like keeping you inside is beyond me. But okay, let's just say the sleeping gas got inside. They fell down. The rat and the other dude, slime guy, who I don't know what his deal is. They went and stole all the rings, but some other guy on the island came and said, "Hey, you guys have to leave and all." So actually, they were going to kidnap the Planeteers also, but that didn't happen.
Holy shit.
So they
Okay.
took all these rings, they went back. There's evil villain banter for like 5 minutes, and then Dr. Blight and her computer Mal. First of all these villains are such awful caricatures of villainy. Okay,
Dude,
They're
his
all-
name is Mal 9000. Okay.
right, yeah,
That's
because
his name.
it's a play on HAL 9000. Come on, even their references are hacky. Why are we doing this?
They're
By
all
the
from
way,
60s,
Dr. Blythe,
70s.
Dr. Blythe, played by Meg Ryan.
What?
Yeah, Google
Did you
that
look
shit. I did. The first thing that comes up.
fantasy again. Are you gonna make the porno where
Man,
there's
I
Aya
will.
and Dr. Blight and that's it for you?
Yeah. It
Mal
is-
9000 they had like they had a lot of celebrities. Mal 9000 at one point was voiced by Tim Curry. So
Forget it. Forget
Wow.
it. All these villains are
guys, Verminous Scum was voiced by Jeff Goldblum. I'm sorry.
Yes.
One second,
Yes,
guys.
Jeff Goldblum was
Jeff
also in this.
Goldblum.
amazing.
This
Verminous
is-
Scum.
It's a great show.
No,
It
it's a
was a
terrible
great
show. It was
No, it is
so
not.
badly written. It was so like
None
all
of
of these
the
villains
kids
are
knew
so
who these
singularly
people were.
evil. Like they have no purpose. They're like they're just like they have the personality of a Disney henchman. Each of these people, like they're all so one dimensional. It's unreal. So they okay. Back to the thing. They take the rings, and Mal has created this machine that like basically makes a evil copy of whatever they do, whatever they show, like whatever they put in that part of it. So it shows up, and on the other end, like a brain switching machine, but on the other end, an evil copy shows up. So how do they display this? They make an example of this by putting a rabbit into the machine, and then some messed up bizarro otherworld rabbit shows up on the other end, like something out of a nightmare, pure nightmare fuel. Okay, comes out the other end, and like, what is this gutter filth of a rabbit? Okay, and they do this with the rings. Gaia's Earth power rings, which are like unbelievable, have clearly been completely cloned by some computer, and that now spews pollutants. It's unbelievable. Who
Also,
is coming up
Sid, Sid, you said Bizarro. That's copyright infringement. Take that shit back. We have to bleep that out.
Guys, let me tell you what the rings, the these evil rings were. Okay, the
Hey.
opposite of the fire ring was super radiation ring. Okay,
You can bring it. Let's go.
which Duke Nukem had. The opposite of the earth ring was deforestation ring, which Luton Plunder had. The opposite of a wind ring was smog ring, which Sly Sludge had. The
That's
opposite of
nice.
water was toxics, like
Toxics.
generic
Yes.
toxic things, which
Yeah.
Verminous Scum had. And finally, and this is the best one, Dr. Blight kept this for herself. The opposite of the heart ring was the hate ring.
Mind blowing.
Like,
Here's the
who
thing.
is to hate?
Yeah, one sec.
I'm gonna start hacking, like coughing my lungs out.
I've one huge point. How are any of these rings powers? These were all things we were doing ourselves. Like regular humans were deforesting, we were releasing toxins. We were doing all this shit by
Toxics,
ourselves.
get it right.
Toxics. We were all releasing toxics every day.
Toxics. And
Yeah.
and by the way, guys, that's not where the mirroring ends. Huh? Captain Pollution actually says the line, "By your polluting powers combined, I am Captain Pollution." Okay,
And
and
he
in the
suffers
end,
awful things
when
like getting damaged by a pure stream of water, by like clean grass. Like these
he
are the
just
things
spit
that
on the guy,
humiliate-
dude.
Yeah.
And when he leaves, finally he says, "The polluting power is yours."
It's so bad. It's so unbelievably bad. Like
So,
did
so basically, so the kids were useless, and once Captain Pollution showed up, the villains were useless.
the villains are
Because
stupid
Captain
anyway.
Planet and Pollution just fighting with each other, and they would, and so the episode that you saw, which was the first time Captain Pollution showed up, right?
Yeah.
That's when he was created. The
Yeah.
one I saw, which is the beginning of season 4, is when he comes back. Okay.
Okay.
And
Ooh.
there's just half the episode is just Captain Planet and Pollution fighting, and there are no kids. The kids are not. There's not even a cutaway to the kids watching this fight or anything. They're
Yeah.
It's just
gone.
like,
It's
Inconsequential.
Captain Pollution is throwing a train. Captain Planet catches the train. And every line, okay, is a fucking pun or a dad. All right.
I'm just glad Zack Snyder saw this episode, learned from it before he shot Man of Steel. I'm
That's
glad
exactly what he did.
he learned his lesson.
Yeah.
Didn't just have two beings flying around punching each other.
Yeah. He needed to throw dad jokes in there to make his
Yeah, that's the only thing. I would have loved Man of Steel more if it was just
know what
you're a
else-
super idiot. Bang.
You know-
It's a
you know what-
shit.
You know what else has aged badly? The environmental science aspect of all of this has aged
What
very
nonsense. How dare you?
Very
The show's
bad.
perfect. The show's fucking perfect.
bad. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Basically,
Recycle.
Suyash,
20% of things that get recycled are the only things that ever end up back in the value chain that we use again. So 80% of the things we put away for recycling just ends up in a landfill like everything else.
Yeah.
So you could say technically that this was the earliest form of propaganda for recycling, and this show put recycling up there as one of the cures for our environmental ills. When
Yeah,
in
the
fact it was a
90s
death sentence, basically.
Yeah. The
You know what I
90s
think?
were as hard for recycling as I am for Gaia. That's a fact. That's a hard
Yes.
fact. It's a hard
That's
fact.
the only reason he likes this show. Us, and I'm like, he doesn't give a
Yeah.
fuck about any
He
of the
wants
other
to-
aspects.
He wants to fuck the personification of the earth voiced by Whoopi Goldberg.
Yes, yes.
Whoopi Goldberg, I mean, Gaia was taking a nap when her glass ceiling broke and Barve fell into her bed.
You
Straight
think
in.
like the glass
What is
ceiling
this?
breaking was like,
She broke the glass ceiling.
yeah, exactly. That's what I was.
It
But I
broke
think
from above, though. That's what's
just to
important.
talk about that, she's brown in the show. She's black. I don't know if she's black, she's brown, or she's trying to be like a race agnostic character. But like, well done for them, dude, because that could have been very easily played by like a white blonde chick.
Let me read out what
Alright.
they wanted Gaia to be. Okay. Her appearance, and this is from the Wikipedia page, seems to be a mixture of attractive women of all races. Did you get that, Suyash, at all?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that it was attacking me from all sides.
I see.
It's true. It was attacking every preference that I have. It's just it's
Do you think they
nonsense.
funded the most expensive composite image of the 90s?
Yeah.
Because
There's-
that was the cutting edge technology, right? Composite photography.
Yeah, let's run it down. Who was probably Cindy Crawford had to be in there.
Yeah.
Who's the Nev Campbell? No.
You know what?
These are all Americans.
Don't try it. Don't try it. You will
Also,
lose
do you
this
think
one.
they
I'm going to
added?
save you from yourself.
Do you think they added Europe and Australian women in there, or did they not consider them even for the fucking Gaia thing?
No,
No,
forget it.
white people, done.
Yeah.
One white person. Also, this white person. Are we okay? Are we going to talk about the plane, or are we going to talk about the Yankee Doodle dandy?
Oh man, that dude.
Who do we want to talk about first? Because I have notes.
Let's get the plane out of the way. The plane's
Let's get the plane out of the way.
It
Okay,
looked when you were like 9, but now it looks like
it cannot fly.
It should
cannot fly. There
I
is
have
nothing
no
about
flying
that plane. I have no understanding of aerodynamics, but I know that thing should not be in the air. It has nothing going on.
awful. it is a piece of trash.
I have a conspiracy theory.
Oh, good God.
What if the plane doesn't actually fly, but it's the Soviet chick who has the power of the wind that's basically carrying the plane along?
Oh,
You know,
okay.
could
You know
be.
what?
Could
Forget
be.
it. Why?
Now,
Why?
here's
Why
the other
bother?
thing.
It's like,
Now, here's the other thing. If that's the case, if the plane is powered magically, in the first episode, there is an insane line. The Asian girl is flying this plane.
Yeah.
Yankee Doodle Dandy, as I can only call him Yankee Doodle Dandy from now on, goes and says, "Why am I not flying the plane?" The Asian girl turns around and goes, "Do you have a driving license?" And everybody laughs. It's a driving license. It wouldn't qualify you to fly the plane anyway. Also, why do any of you have driving licenses? You're all fucking children.
that's true.
Also,
That's true.
I think they purposely made the Asian girl drive it because they wanted to break that stereotype.
Why did
But
you drive us?
it just
Oh, fuck, I
failed.
didn't see it.
Because
Oh, fuck, I didn't
usually
see
when
it.
we see the plane, it usually crashes. I have to be honest.
That's
Oh,
true. That
shit.
is true. That
This
plane
show
never
is
makes a smooth landing.
Never.
this show is so
Never.
progressive. It's regressive.
No,
This
it's
is
so it's
forward.
trying to be so progressive, but it ends up being regressive, and that's the theme here. Okay, like
I
the
didn't see that. Fuck, my head has exploded on another
and
level.
you think this is a good show, huh?
I
So
do
just,
think this is a good show. I still think this was a good attempt at breaking racial stereotypes. It didn't work, but it was still a great attempt.
All right.
okay.
Let's
The
move
African
to,
guy tries to is planting crops when he finds his
He
ring.
is planting
Okay,
crops.
and he's
Sorry, one
planting it with
second.
a
What?
staff. He's Kwame is planting crops with a, they used
Yeah.
to seed the ground like they shove a staff in there, and that's how he got his ring. Okay, that's how Gaia
No
sent his
one
ring.
has
He takes,
planted crops like this since the 1600s.
he
Like,
takes
it's
the ring
just
and goes, "Wow, Laura, look, I got a ring and all." Then cut to him using the ring to like for the first time. You know what the first thing he says? I can plant so many crops with this ring.
Super. Super. I mean, you know what? If he had actually used the ring to plant crops, he would have probably helped people a lot more, removing hunger from the world
Dude, I
than
bet
what
he's
these
doing it right
idiots ended up doing.
If we do like a 20 years later thing, it's him alone in some jungle somewhere, just clearing out rubble and planting crops with the ring. That's all
Yeah.
he's
This reminds me of there's a comic in which they realize that the best way that Superman can help humans is by turning this thing and producing power. So
Yeah.
essentially, like those bulls, they walk around and then they generate power, whatever. That's all. That's the best thing Superman can do because it'll just give us infinite power and there'll be no war and nobody will hurt each other, whatever. But instead of doing that, he's going around individually picking up bad guys.
okay.
And
This is not
so
about Superman, but yeah, that's clearly micromanaging.
you need to just pick up, just plant crops, dude, all over Africa.
Just be efficient.
One thing. Do your one thing.
And Captain Planet can deal with the bad guys.
Are you going to talk about the American now?
You
Look,
know,
the
you have a lot
American
to say, go for it.
is something that pissed me off even when I was a kid. Because he was the most,
He had a punch
Yes.
to the face.
Okay. In the first episode, he's really fully hot for the Russian girl.
Immediately.
yeah, that
Soviet girl.
the Soviet. And they didn't
He-
waste a single second.
Yeah,
He
not a
comes
minute.
on to her like the minute he
Walks
sees
in
her.
the room, she's like that. And so 3 minutes in the episode, they're on the plane and he calls her Rutski Tutski. The
Nice.
first thing he calls her is Tuts, and then he's like, fuck it, now I know you're Soviet. Let me customize my fucking cat calls to you. And calls her Rutski Tutski.
Yeah.
Which I
Nice.
rewound twice to make sure I heard that correctly. This
Nice.
So
guy
you were saying
is
it's
a
aged
fucking
well, huh? Barve?
straight up
Yeah,
creep.
just
Huh?
okay. So you're still on team it aged well. I'm just reminding you.
Okay, some parts
Yeah.
of it did not.
Yeah.
And also the Russian girl. So this is their dynamic is fucking amazing. She
Soviet.
at one point, Soviet girl. She at one point, she's cleaning a seal. She's literally scrubbing down a seal, and she calls him a sweet imperialist dog.
Wow.
She's right
It's
though.
just this banter
Wow.
is insane. They have just met. This is a 15-minute relationship.
You think this is because American children don't know what Europeans or Australians are, but they know that their enemy is the Soviet race?
There's a
Guys.
Soviet person.
I would like to introduce you to a new app at this point. Okay,
What is
which
this?
is called the Communism Button app.
Oh yeah, you sent this
Amazing.
to us. We refused to download it because obviously.
And every time you guys are gonna refer to the chick, I'm just gonna play this.
So he this amazing Russian anthem. I'm assuming it'll just be Soviet.
Yeah, just generic Soviet or the song from Rocky 4,
Okay, it hung. Sorry, guys, it hung. It doesn't stop it.
just like communism.
I was gonna say Russian manufacturing, but that's not entirely true. But communism is better. Yeah. Where
All
else
right,
can
you
we
may continue.
where else can we go with this? I mean, it was just bad. It's really unwatchably bad. Like there are no jokes. There's no plot.
The episode I watched was
The
called.
drums episode.
One second. The episode I was watching was called "A Mine," like a coal mine. Like a mine is a terrible thing to waste.
So they're basically
is-
for pollution. The writers.
Yeah. A mine is a terrible thing to waste. Dude, Captain Planet threw Captain Pollution into like a rock. You know, and in cartoons when you come out, there's a shape of the person on the rock. And Captain Planet's like, that's a way to make a bad impression.
Oh, right. Dude, I'm telling you, like I sent you a screenshot of the writer's name in the first slide of the first show where it has the writer's credit, and the guy's name is Billy Rubin.
Yes.
And I was like, this has to be a pseudonym because Billy Rubin is
Yeah.
something that liver.
It's in the liver. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that just shows how this dude feels about what he's writing right now.
He's named himself after one of the biles available in our liver.
Yeah.
He hates this so much.
Also, just talking about the credit slate, the first thing that comes up in the end credits is original idea by Ted Turner.
Of course.
So
There
this
you go.
was Ted Turner's brainchild. He has put his name to it like upfront. The man who came up with WCW wrestling.
No, he didn't come
has
up with it. He
also-
bought it and then destroyed it. Let's
Oh, he
remember it
bought it.
correctly.
Yes, he
This is
bought it.
reminding me of Harry Baweja. There was a movie he directed called the
Love
Time
Story
Machine
2050.
movie, Love Story
Love Story
2050,
2050. What
which
a
was
classic.
starring his
It was
son
not.
Harman, written by his wife Pinky, and directed and produced by Harry. All the Bawejas together, starring also Harman's girlfriend at the time, Priyanka Chopra,
Yes,
who I
yes,
felt
yes.
so bad for while watching that movie. I only finished it because I was feeling bad for her. Because they got her to dye her hair red and put her in this rubbish movie that almost sank her career. But she managed to get out of it. Out of it, guys.
They paid her well for that movie, and it's like that's the problem. You're sitting down with the in-laws, you're having some dinner, and suddenly you're signed up for Love Story 2050. This is the fucking problem.
My favorite credit from that movie is written by Pinky Baweja. That's the sister.
As
Pinky
much as
Baweja
I
could have-
love to continue talking about this amazing
Pinky-
cinema.
You don't talk about
moment
you don't
in our
talk about
life.
Pinky Baweja anymore.
I'm sorry, Harry
It's
Baweja trivia is some classy shit. Come on, appreciate it.
Right. So there's an episode where they talk about drug abuse. Speaking of Harry Baweja, there is an episode where they talk about drug abuse, and this is one of those YouTube clips that did the rounds a couple years ago. So the Soviet girl Linka is high AF on pills, and Boris is with her. I've forgotten the link with Boris. I'm thinking it's one of
I
her
think
childhood
he's a
friends.
cousin or her
Something
brother
like that.
or something.
Yeah, some shit like that. Linka looks clearly very strung out because she's come down very hard and needs more drugs. So our friend Verminous Scum just casually flies in on like some kind of craft because they don't have real like actual crafts. They don't have actual vehicles in this show. They just made up ones, and tosses a bottle of pills to Boris, who grabs them, proceeds to down like half of them, and then Linka snatches it and tries to do the rest, and then cannot use her wind power to fend off the other Planeteers who are trying to stop her from taking these pills. And next thing we know, young Boris has collapsed. And then the Asian girl, we'll just keep calling her that because they might as well just have placeholder names. The Asian girl comes to check Boris's pulse, and she says, "I'm sorry, he's dead." They literally had a drug overdose happen on children's television.
To a Soviet character.
Yeah.
Don't forget that. Don't forget
Yeah,
that.
that got heavy, but it was like right in the midst of that. I think it was right in the midst of the Nancy Reagan just say no to drugs madness that was happening. So I think a lot of people were dying of overdoses. Like wasn't there a character on Saved by the Bell who like dies or almost dies of an overdose? Like this was happening a lot on American television.
Also, also when asked why this episode had to be there, they called it "Drugs are the pollution of the mind," and that's how they managed to
Using a lot of air
sneak this
quotes
in.
right now.
Yeah, and why do they have to link everything back to pollution? Like, why does everything have to segue back into pollution? It's not
That's the
necessary.
thing. Otherwise, they can't do it. Like how
That's
what
like
are Captain, what, okay, let's summon Captain Planet. First of all, we can't because the Wind Girl is out, so he can't fly or something. I don't know how this works. So if they summon Captain Planet, fix drugs, and he'll be like, "How do I do that, guys?" Like I'm just a mystical being of magic from the spirit formed by the powers combined of the spirit of the earth along with the heart. I can't fix drugs. You
Yeah.
have the power. So yeah, this show
And that wasn't the only weird 90s episode, was it?
no,
There
there
was
was a
an
lot.
episode that they tried to cover HIV.
What?
Oh my
You haven't
God.
seen this?
I haven't
Hit
seen
me.
this one.
Hit me. Give me the plot.
This episode was called "A Formula for Hate." Okay, and in this, what's his name? Vermius Cum brainwashes the
Vermius
local
Cum.
community into thinking that HIV can spread through casual contact.
Oh, I'm seeing
And-
this now. Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
they end up getting the people of that community to hate and fear a young man who's infected by HIV, voiced by Neil Patrick Harris,
Whoa,
mother
NPH.
was voiced by Elizabeth Taylor. So they
What?
conned all these stars into fucking doing this, and
They
the kids
didn't
had no
con
idea
them, Karan.
who these people were.
It was an important social message that Captain Planet, helmed by Ted Turner, was trying to send to the fucking world. This show was
So-
important. NPH was involved.
NPH
They
was
tried to
involved.
fight the
Yeah.
AIDS epidemic.
They tried to fight the AIDS epidemic. You know what, guys? I'm beginning to think that these guys failed at everything.
1 second. I found another ridiculous piece of trivia. Before we continue any further, everything has to stop so that I can talk about this.
What is this?
I'm going to
What
read
else
it.
have you found?
Captain Planet episode "A Good Bomb is Hard to Find," in which the
A good
villain
bomb is hard to-
in which the villain Dr. Blight travels into the past to sell a nuclear bomb to ellipses. Well, ellipses. The episode makes no attempt to hide who this character is, referred to as the Führer, is supposed to be, but they do try to skirt some controversy by upgrading his mustache to a badass Hulk Hogan number. This is from the Cracked article that has dug up this
So,
wonderful.
One of the
now the
bad
video.
guys, they can go back in time, but all they come up with is selling a bomb to Hitler.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
this show is messed up, is what I'm trying to tell you. Like, it's genuinely messed up.
You know what this sounds like? This sounds like the fucking boss of the network had an idea, and everyone, kind of got
Had
in
to
on
make
it,
it happen.
pressed the boss, and was like, and then there was, that too many cooks spoil the broth kind of a thing. There were like too many ideas coming in, and I think that's what happened here. There are Planeteers
episode-
and there's a Captain Planet.
Where
There's-
Terminus seemingly gives a teenager AIDS. Just casually, people are casually writing these lines.
I want
okay?
to know how they're giving the teenager AIDS. Like, what does he do to the teenager to give him AIDS?
There's an episode about radiation in which the kids visit the hospital's oncology department, and Wheeler taunts a bald kid's haircut. Just amazing class.
1 second. Yankee Doodle makes fun of a cancer.
Cancer patient,
a kid getting cancer.
This is
Amazing.
amazing.
That's nice.
The American kid in the American show is a douchebag. Like, it's fucking beautiful. These guys thought this shit through. I'm telling you, Billy Rubin is actually like Aaron Sorkin or somebody, because Ted Turner was like, dude, you have to write my show. He was like, bro, why? Like, no, I'm Ted Turner. You're writing my fucking show. So they wrote it genius. It didn't land because it's a fucking 90s cartoon. But it's actually secretly genius. They subverted everything. The female protagonist is black. The dude from Africa, the Americans an asshole. The Soviet girl is calling people imperials dogs on American network television. It's fucking
The
genius.
Asian chick has no accent.
The
And then
Asian
she
chick
does
has
like an
no
American.
accent, and she drives them around. It's fucking. This I got now, and my head is
She
blown.
drives. She flies a plane with a driver's license. Don't forget
Yes.
that.
The show is genius.
This
We are
is hell.
completely missing the point of the show. It's
No, you are
genius.
defending the worst thing ever made by Ted Turner.
No, that's wow. No, come on. That was NWO Wolfpack.
No, the Wolfpack was better than this. The Wolfpack didn't kill anybody with a drug overdose
Boris.
or make fun of somebody in an oncology department because of their haircut. A child, no less.
Dude,
Give somebody
that I
AIDS.
think is the lowest point of the show, is making fun of a
Yeah,
cancer patient.
it's not good. It's
On
not.
that note, shall we wrap this motherfucker up?
Yeah. Okay. Now I want you to wrap it up on one point. Do we recommend this show as adults
No,
to our peers?
no.
Sid is a hard no.
Already get
Karan.
no.
I mean,
Karan.
it's quite ridiculous. And when a show has a bad guy called Loot and Plunder, I mean, it's tough not to recommend it. Loot and Plunder, come on.
I mean, there's no adult on earth that can sit through this for more than 10 minutes. It's so undefyingly bad. Like,
However, Siddhant, it may have been really shit. The jokes must have been really shitty for kids, as in we didn't fucking know what they were saying because we didn't get any of the references. Because there's like a dirty in the conversation between Captain Planet and pollution, they made a Dirty Harry reference. Okay, I want to cut this out because I can't recognize my handwriting of the notes I've made. But basically,
Amazing.
what I want to
Don't
say
cut it out.
is the references were dad jokes that we can now get. So when I was watching this fight between them and there's one-liners coming
It was
from
humorless.
both sides,
It was completely straight.
I could understand what was going on. It was ridiculously bad, but at least it was like, bad jokes. And kids didn't get that. We didn't get that as kids. So
Yeah, it
for
was
that,
just-
I would recommend it to grown-ups.
It was
Suyash?
compelling dramatic dialogue for you as a child, which is now like, oh, these are all just fucking jokes.
Dude, I also very clearly remember as a kid that Captain Planet used to hit on that Gaia chick. Does anyone remember this?
I
What
don't
was
want
there an
to.
episode of this?
Dude, their interaction whenever they would meet and they would chat would be like very
Flirtatious.
laced with a lot of flirting and shit, dude. And as a kid, I totally picked up on that. I was like, what's happening here? Like, maybe they were exes, which is why she got the kids involved. She didn't want to directly deal with him, because he's clingy and shit. I don't know. What the fuck?
Oh shit, are you saying this is a marriage that ended and these four are the kids?
5.
Five.
I
You
Stop,
got
stop.
Marty, 'cause you don't have a heart.
Yes.
Fucking
No, so
promise.
I'm saying there's definitely history there. Okay. Maybe this is why Gaia left and, because of the
Taken
breakup.
This
And then she
bullshit.
came back after 100 years and she was like, dude, Captain Planet, you have fucking fucked up the whole planet. It's rubbish now. So I'm going to put these kids in charge to keep you in check. Otherwise, you'll go back to the drugs. And that's why he's let out only for short periods of time.
See,
When
my
the
mind
kids decide. I don't
was
know.
blown earlier about the entire concept of Captain Planet. There's one thing I forgot to talk about. It's that where does this dude go when
Yeah, he's
he,
in stasis.
what happens to him? Like, is he a real person? Does he have a memory?
No.
Does he remember things that have happened before?
He's trapped
Or does-
in the ring by Gaia. Like, because they used to be married. Those were the rings.
Yeah,
I don't know.
he's a slave to Gaia.
Okay, this is turned into a Captain Planet conspiracy podcast. So can we just
Yeah.
end it here so I can go on with my life and you guys can.
I'm just
I
gonna
have
say- I'm just going to
I
say I
have a point.
wholeheartedly recommend this show because it's great. The message is important. We should be showing it to adults and children because we haven't gotten the message that the world needs healing and needs to be saved. Also, Gaia's fucking hot. I would totally watch that show. Gaia's fucking
Here's-
stupid hot.
Here's what I think. I think this show in the 90s gave us environmental fatigue. Okay. So there was so much talk about save the environment and recycle and all that there was fatigue and people were like tired of it and that's why nobody did anything.
Also, we
However-
were convinced that the environmentalists have no humor because all their jokes are bad.
Yes,
Yeah,
and nobody
this
wants to
show
be
did that.
uncool and an environmentalist.
This show
But
made environmental nerds uncool.
I think it did encourage some people, and those are the people who are actually destroying nature today. Like I can imagine like that Brazilian president, that Bolsonaro fellow, when he was young, he'd be like, "These kids are lame." But that fucking deforestation dude is damn cool, and today he's fucking burning down the fucking forest.
That's what he's doing.
There were, I'm sure there was those. You know what is that Adani's, that group that is like mining all the hills in Orissa, all the tribals, and they worship the hills, and these guys are getting. I'm sure he was, as a kid, was watching this. It was like, these kids are damn lame, but these bad. I'm telling you, they inspired a whole generation of environmental pillagers, like loot and plunder guys.
That
These guys were like, I want to grow up to be loot and plunder.
that really is, that's Adani's Twitter
all
handle,
over
if I'm not
America.
wrong. That's the Twitter handle.
At loot and plunder.
Yeah, looted plunder is the Twitter handle. And is it a coincidence? I don't know. Maybe your theory is right.
I'm telling you, dude, it made environmental stuff uncool, and the villains were much cooler, and that's why the world is in the place it is today. So I'm telling you, dude, that this show did have an impact, but it fucked us up.
Amazing.
So that's, what are you doing? What is?
I was saying, Karan, shut us down, close us out, outro us.
All right. Okay. All right. So that is Captain Planet and the Planeteers. We still don't know why they both are part of the show, but maybe Ted Turner knows. Is he still alive, guys?
No idea.
Is Ted Turner alive? Maybe we can ask him.
I haven't checked in on Ted in a while. I'll do that today.
All right. Okay. So and so we'll be back with where we can shit on more parts of your childhood and ours. So until the next episode of That Aged Badly, I'm Karan.
I'm Siddhant.
Am I Suyash? What's going on?
We don't know. He's thinking about Gaia right now.
Gaia.
Okay, shut it down before
Gaia. You're gonna be trapped in a ring with Gaia.
Okay. That's it.
Yeah.
That's scary. That's really scary, dude. I hope no kids fucking listen to
That's
this,
it.
dude.
Whatever goodwill we had is gone.
It's like your dad hitting on your English teacher or something on like report day. That's how this is.